from Mike.
Yeah.
Got a copy of Wade's paperwork that they brought,
This has been a
but Deb
day.
switched sheets and mistook me for the more tall size, so she gave me one people, so I'm gonna go in again tomorrow morning.
So
And
Saturday
he gave me
is.
site visit sheets. And I've been trying to interpret them and how to actually fill it out. I can tell, talking to Mike, I don't understand what's happening in the two pieces.
I'm not sure if that's.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess it will be a tool. So we got to do there's a road that goes alongside.
Very good. You want to leave the last one?
At the end of that.
I went there.
So-
But I know where to find it.
No.
Someone.
The next meeting we had, right here.
There you go.
We're talking about seven.
Someone's gonna expect to say that.
Everybody rule, yeah, they just basically ages ago.
Well, it's my wife had to talk to you about it. Normally I stay without quarter off and over. No ice cream tonight, right?
So I would probably see
Yeah, this is the last one. Next week, an hour earlier. Well, Jim misspoke one week. Jim
Yeah, I guess it. I guess it.
Well, yes, that's true. I'd probably have to put more aesthetic. I'd have to put more money in it, not just something to make it fresh. I maybe have to even retile.
I need to get a remember that.
Some I'm logged into it, I just, oh wait.
Horrible dandruff calls.
No,
I had no issues at all. Dandruff, I didn't about it.
Yeah, and I didn't look at that two places. I looked.
What? No. You just come from the country club? No, well, I did, but I took a break. If I come straight from the country club, I would be sitting over there. It was a hop.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it. Don't want to. Okay, call the meeting, it's 6 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting to order. First on the agenda is modifications to the agenda. Does anyone have any? If not, I'll move on to approval of meeting minutes for July 28th, 2025.
Ron, I'm sorry, can we back up one sec? Executive session, did you intentionally want to leave that off?
No, I thought it was on there.
Is it?
No, it isn't, but
You don't need to remove it. You said we didn't need it.
that was, gosh.
You can add it for modifications to the agenda.
I guess, I would think maybe we could because
They don't attend anyways.
we're in the 10 and there isn't. Yeah, okay, so, no, I guess I didn't get back to you with the latest, Hannah, because I did tell you that, and then I changed my mind and must not have told you, and obviously didn't look at it. Wasn't even aware of it until Tim brought it to my attention, so.
Well, open meeting wise, I would say that we're probably not on thin ground here because it is a non-public process and it continues work we've been doing anyway.
Yeah, okay, so we'll add an executive session at the end for personnel reasons. Okay, so approval of meeting minutes, July 28th, 2025.
I make the motion that we approve the July 28th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes for July 28th, 2025 as written, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, next up, Slate Ledge Road. Discussion. I think, was it you, Will, or I don't remember who it was that was going to look into.
The gate and the camera.
Yeah,
So that was me. We can start with that because I don't know if we also wanted to discuss here the washout.
Yeah.
The site visit. Do we want to start with that? Or we wanna-
yeah, we can start with that.
Did you have to get my picture? Thanks.
Yes,
My picture?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, thanks.
So you see the affected area. Michael Harris from the Waterford Bridge Runners, by the way.
Yeah, and Will and I met with Jim Hayes there last Thursday, I believe.
Okay.
And walked down to the washout area, and just, looked at that. And one of the things that we had been told at an earlier meeting is that the culverts had all been removed on Slate Ledge Road, and that is not the case. Because in the short, just walking down there, we saw one that is still there.
So active.
Yeah, just above the, I think it was just above the washout.
Yes. That has clearly been filled in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the inlet's plugged.
It needs maintenance.
Yeah.
But up to that washout point, it's not too bad. And then the section beyond seems to be passable.
Okay. Marcia?
Will, did you go down and look at everything, the trash and everything? You said you were gonna be doing that.
Yeah, I did that. That was a couple weeks ago. It was closer to the last regular meeting. I parked down on where the Bass Trail is down by Route 18 there, and I walked.
You didn't go all the way though.
Well, I walked on foot up up the hill, kind of to where we were at for the site visit. If we went down the corner to where the two property lines where Dennis Smith and Tewksbury's property lines are, from there, looking down, that little ridge down there was where I hiked up to from the Route 18 site. So I saw the dump, like if you go through the marsh, right, and then there's the woods begin as you're walking away from 18, immediately on the left there. Where there's the mattress and the Domino's boxes and the beer cans. But then someone else, I believe it was Mr. Goyette, last meeting said there was another one in an old house foundation near
The
Route
cheaper
18.
place.
Yeah, I that one I did not see.
And just for your information, Mr. and Mrs. Tewksbury, again,
Nice to meet you.
Howard and Deb.
Okay. All right. So we did look at the area, and I think that you, Mr. O'Hara, are you here representing the,
Myself and Paul.
okay?
Paul Gibbs, I'm on Hill Road, I'm one of the club officers for the Rich Runners.
What was your name?
Bukiewicz,
Okay,
or Buckowitz, if that's easier.
no, I just didn't hear.
Yep.
I think I was speaking when you were trying to answer my question, so, okay. And as I understood from the last meeting, the snowmobile club is willing to do some work to repair the washout area. And that is because I assume it's because the snowmobile trail goes down through there on the road at that point?
It does, yeah, and it's a pretty vital connection for us eastbound.
Okay,
So it joins up with that foundation you just mentioned, the old house foundation. That's a trail that goes to the Waterford School, the other one goes towards Chang's Farm.
okay, yeah, that's the one that's just a little ways off 18, right?
Right.
Okay.
What is the town right of way going down through there from the road? Do you have any specific width? Is it a 50-foot, 3-rod, 2-rod road?
I believe it's 3-rod right away, which is, just shy of 50 feet.
I don't know my rods to feet, but I do know in the town road policy, it's 24 feet, 9 inches from the center of the road on either side is the right of way.
I said 24/9.
24 foot 9.
So you're more worried about fixing the road so they can travel on it with someone change, which I don't begrudge them to, rather than cleaning up the mess or stopping the trash dumps?
Well, there's two discussions to be had here. There's this one, and then there's the one regarding the gate and the cameras, which I'll get to once we kind of flesh this one out.
Not a good question.
Gentlemen, your club is just winter activity, or does it extend into summer for four-wheeling as well?
This winter.
Just winter, the summer activity is trail maintenance.
Okay.
So yeah, part of what we're offering to do is we'd also like to help with some of the cleanup as well. So when we get to that part of the discussion, we can see what we can offer there as well.
Well, community volunteerism always sits really well with me, but I do have a question though. Is there some legal intersection we need to be aware of where basically a private organization is doing repair work on an otherwise currently public road?
So we're a state organization, or because we're part of VAST, which is the state. We also, our trail maintenance and our activities is covered under the VAST insurance policy as well. So we should be okay. We have right by the state to do maintenance to all of our trails.
Just looking out for town liability issues. If you do work and somebody's injured because of your work,
We're covered by a $2 million liability policy.
your liability insurance covers this.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting.
David?
Yeah, Dave Morrison, Marsh probably knows the answer to this. How much of that is actually town road? I mean, from 18 in, hasn't been maintained for a long time. Jim, is any of that up to Marsh's original house?
It's just the
Still
culvert,
still town road or
just some of the culverts down below, we have it.
just class 4?
It's class 4 road.
But it hasn't been thrown up.
No, not as far as I know.
Thank you.
Okay.
So as far as the repairs that you would do, this is a 6 or 7 foot chasm.
Mhm.
You're okay filling that into the best of your ability?
Did a little surveillance as far as where the material can come from. There's some ditches alongside, that if they were cleaned out, that material becomes available. And it would make the ditches more efficient, to prevent this. The other thing is, I've never been a big fan of culverts because they always block. And if they don't block, beavers block them. So this would be more as a water bar setup. So it's passable by emergency equipment. You can get an ambulance down through there if need be. Be a gentle swale and allows water to disperse rather than pent up and destroy. So there's enough material there that we could do that. It won't be 3 rods wide.
The only concern I would have there is that where it washed out, that little valley there, that's a significant stream, even though it's like all material washed into the top end of the culvert. Would a water bar be able to sufficiently hold that if
It's done
another
right.
flood event would?
If it's done right, yeah. And we would make sure that Mr. Hayes has full approval authority for what we're doing and make sure we do it to his satisfaction.
Because as far as the town goes, we, for our road policy, only handle culverts on class 4s. We don't do any other sort of maintenance. So if we're talking about potentially removing that culvert and not putting it back in.
There's no culvert there now.
So there's the two places where it's washed down to the Slate, right up top. Is that where you're referring to, or you're referring to the one down below?
The big chasm, the huge chasm that has no culvert. It's just got rocks and dirt and trees and that stuff.
True.
That's what we're gonna fix.
Okay.
The other 2 are passable. The culvert could use a little maintenance, and I'm sure we can free them up so they actually work as they are intended.
Well, because right above where that washout is, there is a culvert that you can find the bottom end, but you can't find the top end because there's several feet of material up there. So that, okay.
Plastic.
Yeah, it's a plastic culvert.
But it hasn't failed. I mean, it's not working real well, but it hasn't failed. It's not displaced from the roadway.
No, it's not displaced. There's an old metal one that's over to the side there, which looks like that was, the plastic one replaced that at some point in the last few decades. I'm not really sure.
Could have been the last 3 years.
Could have been.
The inlet side of that culvert that is buried now, we would try to reclaim some of the material, and push it down into the chasm there. So that would open up the culvert, and then at that point we could clear it best we can with shovels. And then if somebody has some kind of water getting equipment, I'm not sure what the town does for clearing the culverts, but we can free it up the best we can. And then, as Mike mentioned, down below, we would prefer to do water bars. That's what the state recommends for that kind of water.
Okay. Yes, Ken?
Just playing devil's advocate, you do your work, you do it as well as you indicate you will do it, and there's still a washout. I presume we're not gonna be any worse off in that case than we are right now.
You won't be worse off. You won't put you out any money now.
Potential for causing damage in other places in the road by any of the work that you perform here. And I'm only asking because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the site.
Did you get the pictures?
I do have the pictures, yeah.
So as you can see, I took it from an ATV and you could probably fit 3 of them in the depth of that ravine. So what we don't want to see happen is people try and go around that on property that they're not allowed to be on. So we would like to make this particular repair the people on the legal right of way rather than going off property. That's a huge problem for us.
Yeah, we noticed because Dennis Smith had sent us an email about a complaint about someone had cut a path, and we discovered it when we were down there.
That was not us.
I'm not casting aspersions at all.
No,
but
but
we noticed someone had taken a hatchet to some trees and made a little work around the bad spot. So I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, being a class 4 road that's on a map, unfortunately, you get people that are coming from outside the area that want to go jeep and
Yeah, it could be anyone.
that usually is what leads to it. We've seen in other parts of the state and in India and New Hampshire, where I've also volunteered, and we do our best to keep the trails as clear as possible. That way, in case somebody does use it for other reasons, whether it's snowshoeing, horseback riding, ATV, at least it'll stay on the trail and it angers people a lot less than when somebody decides to cut down somebody else's trees.
I agree. I guess to clarify, Tim, for you, the danger, anything below this washout, there's like a little, I would have to assume there's slate ledge underneath it. There's another little rise before it goes down again. So I'd have to imagine the water stopped because it hit ledge.
Yeah.
So there's nothing gonna happen
Can't go
immediately
deeper.
below this. Yeah, it can't go deeper. So as far as what we need to give our blessing for here, where do we stand?
Well, that's a good question, because if we do this, then we're inviting the traffic up, and then where are we at with the rest monitoring the site?
So let's get back to that then. So we discussed a couple of options at the last regular meeting, right? The cameras and the gate. So there's a lot of different, security cameras out there. Like we talked about the one down at Great River, which cost them an arm and a leg and a little bit more. If you go for a trail camera system, kind of like a game camera that we use for hunting, I've used SpyPoint for all my trail cameras. So I had easy access to their prices. Each of their Flex M camera is like kind of a middle of the road model that still has high definition functionality. Those cameras you can get in multi-packs for essentially $80 a camera. If you wanted to power those, there's two different ways to power them. You can power them with 4 AA batteries, which those would run out pretty quickly. I generally, when I have mine set to just photo mode, I replace those every 2 weeks in my cameras. So if you want to go for a solar panel option, SpyPoint sells their own little solar panel attachment to the cameras. I'm sure there's a third market option you can get, but I'm not savvy enough with cameras to know. They sell theirs for $120 each solar panel. So essentially, you're looking at $200 a camera for the solar panel and the camera itself. Then you'd have to purchase some sort of plan for cellular bandwidth so that they can transmit the photos. The photos would be transmitted into an account that, for the sake of argument, the town would have with SpyPoint. And you can log on to, I believe it's unlimited number of devices with that. So it could go to, all of our phones could go to Jim's phone, whoever's phone as we deem necessary. So a premium plan for that would cost $120 annually. That gets you unlimited capture, unlimited photos, unlimited everything. If we're talking about security measures though, I'm sure Wade, you might have to be able to weigh in here from a law enforcement perspective, but you're gonna need some sort of high definition, not just photo, but video capture to have solid evidence of who it is, what's going on. They sell their HD videos in a 20 per month package for $5 a month. So annually $60. So if you're gonna put the cameras up, all of that together, you're looking at $200 a camera plus an additional $180 for the cellular plans. The cellular plans cover unlimited cameras. It's not one plan per camera, it covers all of them. So say for the sake of argument, 4 cameras, one down at the Route 18 side to catch people coming in, one with its eyes on the current trash dumping site where it is, and then 2 more dealer's choice. You're looking at essentially a touch under $1,000 just for that.
Oh, I thought that was me. Sorry.
I'll pause.
Let's see, roofing.
Okay, so that's your surveillance option. And now the gate you can buy. This one's a little tricky because the gate, you can get gates at, Tractor Supply in Littleton for as little as $200 essentially, or you could spend top dollar on a swinging barrier gate with a lock for roughly $1,200, like a 12-foot gate. You'd probably need a 12-foot wide gate to go at the bottom there. Just because that would cover most of the roadway. You wouldn't be able to get a car around that, but it's also not so cumbersome that someone would have to walk in a ditch or poison ivy or whatever if they were to be on foot recreating. from the Route 18 access point. So that one you'd have to, it's a big range there, right, of $800 from the 200 to the 1,200, well, technically 1,000. You'd have to be looking at a lock, a padlock of some kind to secure it. You'd be looking at potentially a chain if necessary for the padlock, and then the installation. Labor for the installation I don't have a good figure on that, but since it is a town road, I would presume we could have the highway department handle that.
Yeah.
And then, so lock plus other accessories and keys. If you consider, let me go down here to where my thing is. Okay, I didn't write down who the keys, but I planned for 5 keys. Presumably that would be highway department, 1 for the pumper truck and the fire department, 1 or I believe 2 for us, the 2 road commissioners, and then an extra 1 as needed, for whoever I may be forgetting here.
We were told property owners, St. John's,
Or Dennis
Berry,
Smith, he owns the
and
land.
Smith, and a number of property owners would
Okay.
also like a key. So
Okay.
maybe 10 keys.
10 keys. Keys are like $2 a
Yes.
pop if you get them copied, so that's a lower expense. Mr.
I'm a
Texter?
landowner on the other side, and I just want to have access, unlimited access if I can. It's a wood lot, I want to have access to my wood lot,
Mhm.
my convenience as I have now.
Mhm.
So anything that interferes with that, I'd be against it. Just denying my access to my own land. Once you lower my taxes, then we can argue about that.
Yeah.
That'd be another option.
So this is where we were discussing key control the other day, or last month, I should say. So you factor in the property owners, right? Mr. Tewksbury, Mr. Smith,
Town of St. John's.
Town of St.
kind of
John.
St. Johnsbury, so you'd have to have 1 for their public works department. Either way, I feel like that could be ironed out at a later date, exactly who needs the keys, but call it $20 for that. So if you sum up the gate, the accessories, the keys, plus, well, let's leave the security option out of it for now. You're looking at a touch over $1,000, roughly $1,100, roughly $1,100 for that option.
Well,
Yes?
Dave Morrison, I thought the fire chief had kind of voiced an opinion against the gate locks freeze. If you get some snow, the gate isn't gonna swing in the snow. And I don't have any experience with these game cameras you're talking about, but some of these people that you're trying to identify and maybe even prosecute, just the fact that they are who they are, aren't these game cameras very easily disabled?
That would be a concern. Now, I'm no expert at disguising them, but there are ways to disguise game cameras so that people can't see them unless they're looking for them. I'm not an expert on it. I just use them to track wildlife.
Right.
So I'm not trying to hide
I think
them.
that they'd be right for easy, like a spray can of paint or something, if you knew where it was.
Put them up high enough.
One thing, I'm concerned about the legality of blocking off a public road. I know it's a class 4 road, but it's still a public road. And to lock it with a gate, I'm concerned about that.
That's exactly my concern. It almost seems a no-win no matter which way you analyze it by putting up a gate. You're either excluding the property owners, which I don't think we can, or you're favoring the property owners over everybody else in the world, which I don't think we can do either. I see no win in this, at least from where I'm sitting now, not having dug into the legality of this.
And from a strict legality standpoint, I reached out to the VLCT. They advised against doing this, but it's not explicitly illegal because per state law, I wrote the statute down somewhere in my notes from a previous meeting. The select board has control over all the town roads and can do as they see fit, so.
Well, just historically, the town, the board at the time did that on High Ridge, right at Willard Towers' house, to block deer jackers and stuff from going up further. There's residences up in there now, but at the time there wasn't. And so historic, well, and on the Concord side, Harry Putin was supposed to do the same on his side, but he didn't like people coming through his driveway.
Well,
But historically, it has happened.
as far as locking gates, I mean, as far as locks freezing, when we first talked about it, it was during the summer that it was closed, not the winter, because the snowmobiles, we knew, wanted to use it. But in the summer, after that fire that was down there, the fire truck said they couldn't get there anyway, so if you had a gate up there, they could only get a small truck through, they could get it to a 12-foot gate. But the fact that they party and build fires down there is a threat every day to us. And let's say you want us to go down there and tell these people to go to some of these other roads in town and have their parties. See how fast that gets gated.
Wrong.
Yeah.
So I want to add something. I live on Hudson Road and you've probably seen it recently. It's a very well-used road, and on that road now we're getting trash being dumped. There's a couch there today, I noticed.
Oh, there is.
So I don't think a lock or a gate is really the answer here. It doesn't matter where we are. I mean, that's a very well-used turnaround.
Yeah.
We've seen narcotics being used there, everything. So I get your frustration because I go by this mess every day when I go to work. So I'm sure you guys as landowners, but I don't know that the gate is the answer.
And you get into the so-called, so to speak, animal behavior aspect of it. You gate them off there, they'll just find another spot.
Well, I'm okay with that.
So one thing to note about gates, and I can say this from a lot of experience with snowmobiles, there's a lot of trails that have gates across them for the summer to try to keep people from driving cars and trucks down there. People will go around gates.
Exactly.
You know, people are cutting trees on other people's properties to go around that washout. People are gonna cut around the gate. The only way around that at that point is to put a line of rocks going down the road for a half mile each way and hope that somebody's not gonna crawl over them. As far as people walking down there to have a fire or shoot up, you're not gonna stop that with a gate. The only way you can do it is a surveillance. You can have foot traffic from police. If there is somebody down there, the neighbor should be calling the sheriff or somebody in the area that can go down there and address the issue. But the gate absolutely won't fix the problem. I can say that from experience, unfortunately.
Ron, Tim Doyon. One of the things I can say from personal experience is my property on Hale Road, they didn't have a gate for 3 or 4 years. And then all of a sudden I had people going in there with full drives and tearing it up. And then I found a chest freezer and a inline 6-cylinder diesel block on my property and a washer machine. So I put the gate up and that eliminated that. I'm not gonna say you don't have foot traffic around it, but you don't have vehicle traffic around it. And there's no trashing of anything. Once in a while, there might be something out in front of the gate when I first put it up, but that came to a halt pretty quick.
Yeah, although
But that's,
they have to,
What's that?
going around that gate wouldn't be quite as it would be more difficult because you've got a culvert right there at the gate, and so they have to go.
But I guess what I'm saying about the gate is that would stop vehicles from going in there, so any of these couches, any of these big materials, any of the trash that they're burning, they'd have to carry it in, and they're not that ambitious. Those kind of people.
burn brush, so.
I mean, when they burn mattresses just to watch them burn,
Right.
what's gonna happen when it heads up like a drone, nobody can get to it.
Okay.
Just a suggestion.
Yes.
So there's 2 things being discussed here. One is a camera system. Is that mobile enough that you could use it not just at Slate Ledge, but then move it to Hudson if you needed to, or any other place where you have a problem and still have the same plan?
Yeah, it's like with any other trail camera. You can pick them up and move them. You put one and then the deer start going another place, you move it over there.
Right.
Similar thing. They use I want to say they use AT&T for their cellular. So it's anywhere you have a connection.
Okay.
Is good.
Did you try that, by the way, to see if you had a connection down there?
No, I haven't.
There's spots in water that can be troublesome. I checked that out first.
My house.
Second thing, do you have a littering ordinance?
A littering ordinance?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that would be really important to have that, and then at least post it that littering is a finable a fence. And then when you do the camera thing and you identify someone, you can get them.
You can still do it under the state law, though.
Yeah, you can use that right off 18, I'm sure. I don't know how far the,
State law would cover it wherever it is.
Yeah, legal something.
so the other thing is that if he were to take pictures, let's say, of some malcontent that wants to burn something, and he's gone off of Slate Ledge and onto our snowmobile trail, that's a $600 fine. And that will get somebody's attention in a hurry. And then the other thing is, once we can find somebody, public shaming does a really good job of keeping people from trespassing.
Okay.
If I'm hearing your argument correctly, the gate's not gonna do any of what you just said. You need to be able to identify and see the action in action.
I sense the gate is kind of, there's pro and con. The camera, I don't think anybody has any objection to, so try that first. If that doesn't work, then plan B.
Plan B.
Tim?
Tim Doyon. Ron, I've got cameras down at my property as well, and they're 15, 18 feet up. And they work absolutely beautiful and nobody can fool. They can't spray anything in the lens, they can't do anything with it. More often than not, they don't see it, because I get a lot of faces on there. But they're there for that purpose. I see a lot of farm equipment from time to time going in and out of the field. But it comes across, so they do work.
Yeah, I just, and maybe, if they are high, maybe it would work. I was just thinking that same thing that David brought up was, a camera and then to power it with a solar panel, it's like, I was just thinking, well, they're gonna disappear right off, but maybe if they're high enough that they don't see them, then they won't, if they see them,
Right.
that they're gonna take them or destroy them.
I mean, mine are high enough where they've been there for 4 years, and I don't think the people that have got on have even seen them. You gotta put them up high enough and
And the
they
camera,
just won't notice it.
and not to interrupt, but the camera might very well transmit who's trying to mess with them as it's finally
Oh, yeah,
dying out before it's disabled.
And mine are all solar powered as well. I mean, and I haven't done anything to them for 4 years other than take pictures of them.
Okay.
Pretty
Right.
close.
Yeah, Dwayne, can't you, track them, like, for shipping them, like, don't they have chips, and so if they're taken, you can follow
There is.
them? I know there's some out there that do,
Yeah, there's
but
one.
I don't know how pricey they are. That's one way to, because if somebody takes a camera, you can follow where it goes.
Yeah.
On your app, or whatever.
Okay. Now, going back to the cameras, when you were describing it, well, okay, so we're taking pictures and transmitting them. What do we do with them at that point? I have my ideas, but I just wondered what the thoughts are.
I would have to presume we turn it into the Caledonia County Sheriffs and say, hey, we've got this problem, these are the people, what can you do for us?
So it's not gonna be an immediate thing. We're gonna have the information, turn it over. It isn't gonna be like, okay, well, Will got the message. He calls the Caledonia police and try to catch them while they're there. It's sort of an after the fact.
So there, you could do both, right? Say it happens at like 2 a.m. when we're all asleep, right? I don't think there's an expectation we can place on ourselves or any town employee to be watching them like a hawk 24/7. But so if it happens and we get the notification and we sit there and watch it, and then we could very well, if we see something illegal happening, call the sheriff and say, hey, this is going on right now. But even if it's after the fact and we wake up to the notification in the app, then we could very easily say, hey, we got him. After the fact, we can at least turn this into the sheriff's for.
All right.
As far as locating people, so obviously the sheriff will be the first line, but another thing that I've seen other towns do, and snowmobile clubs and police departments, is they'll post pictures of people's faces on social media. that actually does a really good job of weeding people out, because people's mothers will see it and they will call up their son and they will turn them in.
Okay.
So something to consider if you're not having a lot of luck tracking people down, but people will help you.
Okay. Well, what would the board, what would you like to do?
I'm of a mind to either opt for the trail camera system in some aspect, I don't know what yet, but I am feeling very strongly against trying to put a gate up.
I am in a similar boat. I was leaving last meeting, I was thinking the gate was the solution, but it just seems like there's too many ifs, and the trail cameras are, it's just too easy. There's no risk involved whatsoever.
Except securing them, hiding them, protecting them.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, I'm not real confident in the cameras, but I think might be worth a try, but the gates, it seems to me that it just restricts. It's a town highway, even though it's a class 4 town highway, and it seems like you're not allowing all of the public to use it. I realize it's to discourage that part of the public you don't want using it, because they don't, they dump trash, they set fires, but
People used to use it a lot until this happened. They used to walk there all the time. You'd see the same people walking every week. They'd walk down through there. Now they don't even dare. They ride their horses, they don't even dare.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts?
I did find about $2,300 in the select board budget that we could use to purchase cameras, and that was the wages, because we had 2 select board members go early last year. They got their salary before March. Normally our salary is March for the previous year.
Okay.
And so there won't be any more hits against that line item. Where our wages are supposed to be $11,783 and the actual is $9,411.72. We won't have wages hit again until next March, unless one of us resigns, which no one's allowed to do. But
I heard you say that, Sue.
yeah, I'm sticking it out till the end of my term. So I think that is a pot where we could get that $1,000 that we need, and I don't see why we wouldn't try it
I agree.
and see if it works. It's $1,000 to see if we can't fix up a much bigger problem than $1,000.
Plus, we may have a flexible system to deal with other problems in other locations afterwards as well.
Yeah, we had the citizen tell us at the last meeting or the meeting before last that the boat launch area has greatly improved with the surveillance. And of course, we don't want to purchase their expensive type of surveillance. But if it works, it's something to consider.
Okay. All right. Somebody want to make a motion?
Well, before we do, we'd have to decide, the only variable with this was how many cameras we want. So.
Well, you've been there. How many do you think we need?
Would we want to start with 2 and see what we find?
So 2 at the bare minimum. You could either put 2, one at the current dump and 1 at the entrance to the road. Or you could put 2 at the dump if you really think that's gonna catch everything. I say we start with 2. 3, you could put 1 at the entrance, 1 at the dump, and 1 at maybe another angle looking at it, so that you could catch someone messing with either camera.
Oh, and does there have to be signage that say you're being surveilled? Because I think that was a legal requirement at the boat launch, is that they had to have a sign that says there are cameras taking your picture.
I'll have to get back to you on that, because to my knowledge, Vermont is a one-party consent recording state, but depending on where we place the cameras,
Okay.
they could either be in the right, if they're in the right of way, the 24 foot 9 inches from the center line,
You think we're okay?
well, we wouldn't have to get permission from an adjoining landowner. Otherwise, we'd have to get permission from the town of St. Jay to do it, which
Okay.
I sent them an email after the last meeting asking them, hey, we're considering these solutions. What are your thoughts? Didn't hear back from them in any official capacity, but Dennis Smith got back to me on a personal side.
Because when
So
Roberta was telling us about it, she thought the sign that says, it's got like a big eye or something and says you're on camera. She thought that serves as a deterrent as well.
I would,
And I wouldn't put it near where we hide the cameras, but if you put it at the entrance saying you're on camera, just maybe that's a deterrent all on its own.
Just put a
But they do
sign.
have them at the boat launch. I'm just bringing that up.
I'm just kidding. Just put a sign up.
Well,
I think the boat launch did have a sign up before the camera.
Yeah, the camera there is pretty obvious, but it's also up in the air always. Yep, okay,
I think it's worth mentioning that this part of the conversation seems to be conflating two different ideas. I think the First Amendment is so broad that and nobody has a right of privacy expectation in public. So the signs that have been referred to, I have to imagine are deterrent factors only and not a legal requirement. I'm having a hard time trying to visualize First Amendment law that would require a warning sign to the public that they're being recorded. And the fact that it's a government doing the recording, I think, still is not a factor here. Maybe a question for our town attorney, but I don't see it.
yeah, I tend to agree with you, because even if it's, federal, state, it's one party consent, and you're not in a place where there's a reasonable expectation of privacy.
That's the biggest right there, and I'm not even sure whether it's a one-party consent law in a state could restrict video taping anywhere in public in any state.
Yeah.
Do you have to warn people that there's under surveillance? People were stealing stuff out of my garage, and I had to warn people I had a surveillance camera there. Or you may have to put up a sign.
That's only to scare people away. You have the right to record on your property regardless.
Regardless, you don't have to have one.
That's not legal advice. I'm just
Same cop.
telling you
I
that.
had to put a sign up warning people I had a camera there.
Who required you to put the sign up?
Amber,
Well, he didn't require, he advised, he said.
he said that
To make it legal.
if I put up a camera, I need to
prosecute.
warn people that they could be under
That's not
surveillance.
true. That's absolutely
But
not
I
true.
think we're talking apples and oranges, Luke, one, because we're a sign on private property, we're talking about warning on a public road. Two different things.
okay.
And it would be about $600 for the 2 cameras instead of the 4.
That's what I'm saying.
And then if it works, maybe we get extra cameras. Maybe we don't, and we don't need it.
So how do we, before I make a motion here, how do we purchase this? Just from a logistical standpoint, do I buy them and then submit a reimbursement request, or how are we gonna do that?
When we get to his purchasing policy,
Okay.
we would get to say how that gets done.
So why don't we then do this? I'll make a motion to allocate $600 out of that line item,
Board wages.
out of the select board wages line item, towards the purchase of 2 trail cameras and all associated recording, what am I looking for? Software purchases.
And subscriptions.
Yes, essentially.
I would second that.
What was it, all associated?
Subscriptions.
Do you want to include signage in that?
I think not for now, just because we don't feel it's necessary, but if so, we could come back at a later date. How much do we think that kind of sign would run us? 125?
Probably a couple $100. It might be a good deterrent, as mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And right at the beginning of the
The only
road,
problem that I see with putting up a sign that you're on cameras is the location, you're kind of, in the woods. You're telling people that you got cameras, so they're gonna be looking for them. And
Yeah.
then you're gonna promote, or you're gonna ask them if they're gonna, be mischievous or whatever, they're gonna try and rip down your cameras.
Well, and not
Whereas
to-
if they don't know they're there, then,
They'll cut the tree down.
you know, that's my point.
That's why you want to have it so you can track them.
Yeah,
You know, you want to make sure you got a tracking device in that camera, so if they do take it, which most people nowadays know better, take them because they got that tracking device.
Well, and
I've been through it.
Well, and the other thing I would say from the long-term perspective, right, where we say these are, mobile, we could use them for other stuff, the sign is less.
That's true.
That's less mobile, that's a little more
Then you
cumbersome
have
to
to
uproot
remove
and
the
read.
sign,
Yeah.
that's true. If we don't need it, if it's not a legal requirement. then-
I would say don't put the sign up if you don't need it, if it's
Yeah.
not legally
I
required.
say don't spend the money in case we don't need it.
Okay,
Looks like the SpyPoint Flex cameras do include a GPS in them. I don't think it's intended to be used for tamper protection, but I would imagine if it's taking photos while somebody's driving with it, you'll still have your GPS coordinates in your,
From what I understand from my use of them, it'll give you like the GPS coordinates on a map if you open it on a computer, but how accurate they are, I really don't know. It's hard to tell with like satellite overlays on maps and stuff, but it does.
Well, at that point, you'd already have a video of the culprits, wouldn't you?
Essentially, yes.
all right,
I say we bring it to a vote.
well, I'm trying. Did you seconded it, Sue? Could you read the motion for us, Hannah, or, what?
Want me to read it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Allocate $600 of a select board wages line item toward the purchase of 2 trail cameras and all associated subscriptions.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay,
Did you vote?
Yes.
Or for?
yeah, no, I voted,
I vote.
yeah. Next up is Mr. Doyon's field drive.
Yeah, so more discussion of dates and things. So this one, I will, on my phone, pull up here. Because Ron, you said you've been to the site.
Yeah, hang on a second. I forgot one part of the Slate Ledge Road thing about the
Time of the hand.
Getting help.
Prepare the washout.
yeah, getting help from the ridge runners.
I would make a motion that we accept all help provided by the Ridge Runners Snowmobile Club.
Okay,
I'd second that.
any discussion?
I presume your help at this moment is limited to those washouts on Slate Ridge Road.
we're always happy to help anywhere else we can help, so. In the future, if situations arise that are related to our club's access.
As
Yeah,
stated,
participate.
greatly appreciate volunteerism and community spirit and support.
Become rare.
Even our own club. Enough numbers, not enough volunteers.
By way of a thank you in advance for the offer.
No problem. Appreciate the opportunity.
the only thing that I would suggest is that Dennis gets put in the loop on this, just.
Absolutely. We don't start without him knowing what's going on.
That way everything's on the up and up as far as land.
Absolutely.
Nobody's, comes down and you're irritated or whatever.
Well, if we really have to reach out for material, we're gonna contact the landowners and see if it's okay if we can salvage some rocks and some
Right.
grass and stuff like that. But I don't think we have to. I think we get everything within the right.
Okay. If there's any more discussion, all those in favor of accepting Alfred Ridge Runners offer of assistance or offering to repair the washout on Slate Ledge Road. I don't know if that's what you really said or not, Sue, but it was close.
That sounds like the gist of it.
I
All
think
right.
Hannah has it.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
I
Those opposed? Okay.
Could you restate the name of the club, please?
Waterford Ridge Runners. But stand up.
Is that bridge with an R or bridge with a B?
Bridge with a R.
Alright.
2 words.
Sometimes, well.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
here.
Back to Tim Doyon's field drive on Hill Road.
So I just gave Wade a little map that I drew of the site and the issue in question. I'll try and pass it down to you guys at some point, Sue and Tim, because Ron, I believe you've already been to the site. So here, Sue, I'm passing this down to you. So the issue here, and Tim, if I'm off on my history here, just raise your hand and I'll let you correct me. At some point, roughly 30 years ago, Tim Doyon purchased this woodlot off of Hale Road. And there was a access road to go into his woodlot that did not have a culvert connecting the ditch on the uphill side of Hale Road to downhill for continual water flow. So at some point, right around 2010, 2011, the town road foreman at the time, Lyle Houghton, took it upon himself to dig, as he was doing ditching work on Hale Road, dig down Tim's access road a good 7,500 feet.
Yeah, I would say 100 feet and
About
around my gate.
100 feet and around the gate that Tim had put up there that was in place, to direct the flow of water from that ditch into an existing culvert that was under the driveway over there that was intended for a seasonal runoff brook coming from the opposite direction. He did this without informing Mr. Doyon that it happened, and they had a disagreement about it. And then that was it, so to speak, until the flooding last year, at which point, torrential rains, the water, instead of what would probably have happened is it would have just hopped over the entry, like the choke point of the intersection of the access road and Hill Road, and just gone into the brook beyond. The water followed that channel, went down towards the gate, but because it was carrying so much material with it, the water then jumped onto the access road and eroded away the foundations of the post for the left side of Mr. Doyon's gate. If you go onto Google Street View, you can see imagery from like 2014, 2015 showing that the gate is upright and looking, well put together. I can share photos with the other 4 of you of the gate in its current state, and after that flooding, the gate is now tilted askew. The water clearly came from that direction. There was no runoff from the other side that would have eroded it. You can see from which side of the post washed out where the water was coming from. So we have ourselves a question of Mr. Doyon believes that we are liable for paying for repairs to his gate because the ditching that was done on his property was not within the town right of way, was not done with his consent. And it's unclear whether or not the town's sovereign immunity covers it for things like that, where deliberate action was taken to redirect water onto someone's property by digging on their property. So the decision we have to come to here, I've already spoken to Jim about installing the proper culvert to connect the ditch to the stream beyond it in the front. But the question we have here before us is whether or not we believe we are liable for fixing Mr. Doyon's gate, and if so, what we're gonna cover as far as damages go. Tim?
There's also damage beyond the gate, to the road itself and that culvert. Because the culvert wasn't sized to the point of taking water like that. It was sized, there's a culvert just up from that I put in because the brook couldn't handle what was there. So it was a 2-foot culvert, I believe, right, Jim, up above it. And that takes the bulk of 3 brooks that converge on that one culvert. In the springtime, when you have the runoff, there's an area for it to actually overflow and come down and go through that culvert just beyond the gate. That culvert now is plugged full of rocks and debris, and part of that road is gone.
Question, when you purchased the property the drive and the culvert by the gate were already there?
No, I put the culverts in myself. The ones beyond the gate,
Yeah, the one that started it.
I put those in. Because at one point, there was just, I don't know, it was an old rotted out steel culvert further up. And that's when I put in the 2-foot culvert, and then I put in the overflow culvert per Ron Tenoff's advice.
Okay, but the drive was there, just not that culvert.
Right, the drive was there, not the culvert, but within first or second year, I did all that and upgraded the road and
Okay.
put the gate in.
No, I guess what I'm curious
Yeah.
about is when somebody gets a drive permit, the property owner has to put the culvert in, right?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering why the culvert was never placed. I realize it's a 4-year time, but I wonder why it was never placed where you're proposing putting it now within the town right away.
Yeah, no idea on that one.
And Brian Plumbin may be able to shed a little light on it, Brian. It was Lowry land, correct?
Lowry land, where Timmy Doyon is. Who owned that land?
It was Lowry,
Then
right?
sealed. Who owned it? Who owned it before Tim?
I think,
No.
No.
Who owned the land? Where Timmy Doyon's land is, where Finn's Field is? Who
oh, I
owned
can't,
that?
I don't know who it is.
Well, it was Steve Lowry, it was a Lowry
Was
Lowry farm.
Was it Steve Lowry?
He logged it. No, he didn't own it. He
Okay,
logged it.
but it doesn't really.
It doesn't matter, but he
No.
had just like a logging road going in there when I bought it, and that was about it. And I've since upgraded the road, I mean, for, I don't know, a third of a mile up in there, where you can drive over the car.
Okay, yeah, I'm just wondering why, and I realized this before all of our,
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Because Lyle.
Because-
When Lyle originally did the work on,
yeah,
I saw what he was doing, and he had this, I don't know if you call it a French culvert, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it was like riprap in the ditch. I saw him doing it, and well, he's gonna put culvert down at the end of my road, right by the road. And then it went weeks, and I went, well, it can't be done, so I stopped down there, and it got very confrontatious, because he was telling me the job was done. I'm like, well, if you get a lot of water, where's that gonna go? Right over the end of my road. So then, it was not long after that, he dug that ditch. I went down on my property, and that ditch had been dug along the side, right around my gate to that culvert. And we had no orders.
yep, no,
Yeah.
I realized it was outside the town right away, it's just, that was the drive culvert, so, and if the ditching hadn't been done, wouldn't it have just washed out the drive?
Well, that's what I don't understand with the whole scenario anyways, is that you've got so much surface area, you've got so much land mass up above that's gonna drain. So the water had to have gone somewhere.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no,
I don't know, the only question that I have with that is that if it was set up in a manner so that it just kind of flowed out, or, you know, kind of sheeting off, and then water just went everywhere. Whereas with him actually defining a ditch, if he captured a lot of that water and put it in the ditch line, you see what I'm saying? And then, look at it with erosion on a road. If you have no greater berm, and the water sheets off the whole road wherever it lands, it sheets off. Whereas if you have like a greater berm, you're channeling all that water, and it's building and building and building until it causes erosion. Well, essentially, it could be the same circumstance here. With no ditch line there, the water might have just sheeted and flowed over here and flowed over there, and so it didn't amount to a lot of water in one area. Then by putting a ditch in there, you just contained all that flow into that ditch line, so now you've built all kinds of water that's gonna go. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Mr. Doyon, I want to clarify the timeline here. The work that Lyle did, digging a ditch, when did he do that? What year?
I don't know the exact year, but like Ron said, 2000, I'd say 2010 to 2012, somewhere.
When did you buy the property?
1995.
So whatever work has happened is long since after you acquired the property.
Oh, absolutely. I was
Okay.
having no problems with anything. That's why I put my own culverts in to take care of whatever water I had and runoff I had. And there was no ditch when you, well, Will knows, when you pull in, there was no ditch on the right-hand side at all. And it was never a problem,
The
but
right-hand side is you're going up the drive.
Where the embankment is, yes.
Yeah.
Or where the embankment, I should say,
Right.
was, yes. So looking at at the right there, originally, that was an embankment going straight down to the road. There was no ditch there. It's kind of hard to see the ditch because it's a little overgrown.
Well, are you talking about a ditch on this side?
Yes,
Right side of the driveway?
yes, the ditch that was dug is coming from basically where the camera is, away from you and around the fence was where the cut was made.
yeah, around the right side gate.
It was before Hurricane Irene, essentially. Is
Well,
what we
I
narrowed it
started
down
in
to.
2010 and it was done before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, I just want to keep following up on this. The cut that went under your driveway is between your gate and the town road?
No,
Under
the
my
culvert
driveway.
is beyond the gate. So as you're
Culvert's
looking at the
beyond the
culvert's
gate
beyond the gate.
that he diverted the water to.
Yeah.
So at least 100 feet. you know.
Oh, at least 100 feet.
So your theory here is that the town is liable because of the work that Tim Lyle did without your permission, how many years ago?
15.
But it's a problem now because of what, the floods last year? It's a problem now because of the floods last year?
Yeah, so the floods last year directed flood water down that channel, overtopped, went down his road and washed out the left of the two post holes that you see there. Now the gate kind of sits, instead of flush like this as you're looking down the driveway, it kind of sits like that.
Yeah.
And if he hadn't dug that would never have happened.
How can you say that with any certainty? And I'm not trying to be confrontational, I want to know your theory here.
I mean, we've had instances before with a lot of rain on that road where the road is washed in places, and I've never had problems with my road ever.
Isn't it true? A lot of us can say that until last summer.
Okay, so you're making it, you're telling me that it's okay for the town to go on my property?
I'm not saying
and
that
dig
at all.
that? So where are you going with it then?
I'm just
That's what I'm
wondering
saying
if
too.
what happened last summer was so out of the ordinary
And
that,
so it was the 2 summers before that.
I'm listening to what you have to say.
Okay.
I want to be clear.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that there's been water down there, there's been damage down there, not to the extent of what I got now. But since he's put that in there, the 2 summers before, I've had to fix it, and I fixed it on my own. It hasn't washed out the gate, and it hasn't plugged up a culvert. Now it's an issue, and now I've got a problem, because it's gonna continue to be an issue if we keep getting issues like this. We keep getting,
Well, it shouldn't be an issue if because we are putting a culvert in, right?
Yes, that will solve the
Within
issue
the
of yes, within the right of way under the access road, the drive. So that should prevent further occurrence of this. The question is what to do about the gate, because that is the damages here, plus the road
the
and
gate and.
the road material getting cut down to the riprap.
And Jimmy thinks that culvert, he can shake that loose or whatever, it's full of big rocks. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
no, it can be, you lift it out, you hook on to one end of it, and dangle it, and you usually clean themselves out.
So, just to go back to what you were saying before, Jim, that ditch coming down the hill wasn't there before?
That's
What?
that's what they're claiming.
no,
I don't know, I wasn't here then.
Yeah, okay. No, I just,
But I just find it strange that if he did do work like that, the only thing that I can think is if he put his culvert in years before, and nothing was ever said about it, then all of a sudden, they want to do improvements to the road, he should have put a culvert in there within the right of way to channel, the brook's right on the other side of it. Because
Yeah, I know,
gone
yeah.
right through.
Yeah.
Being that it was years before that he put that culvert in for his own purposes and it's worked fine. But like, you're absolutely right, Ron, when you initially put in a culvert or driveway, you are required to, get a driveway permit, you have to put the culvert in, it's gotta be sized to what we say. And it's the landowner's, up to the landowner in order to put that pipe in. Once that pipe is in and it satisfies the town, the work is done right, then the town takes it over and maintains it after that.
Yep.
So, you know, if Timmy had just put that in, then Lyle could have had you know, said, hey, you're not abiding by the driveway permit, if they had one in fact back then, I don't know.
Yeah,
But the fact remains that took care of his water down there at the gate and never bothered so much. Lyle channeled water, centralized flow into his, which now overwhelms it. I just think the best case scenario is we put in culvert, that way we get less erosion. This is on I've got a grants and aid, grant right now that I'm working on Hill Road, I've got 4 segments that I'm doing there. And that fits in with the scope of the project. And the whole idea is to minimize erosion. They're hydraulically connected. So we put in a culvert, it's paid for through the grants and aid. We minimize the sediment and stuff, and it's a kind of a win-win, I think, all the way around in that aspect. Now, like you're saying, you guys are discussing the other issue there.
okay.
Now, Tim, from a legal perspective, you might appreciate this. Downs Racklin actually posted a little blurb to their website a good 10 years ago about asking, can I sue the town after surface water damages my property? And they do mention, right, sovereign immunity, where the town is not liable, and that is the baseline doctrine. It has been for years, but courts have kind of walked that back in certain circumstances to make it a little less inequitable. One is when a municipality purchases liability insurance, quote, it waives its sovereign immunity from liability to the extent of the coverage of the policy and consents to be sued. So the sovereign immunity from liability to the extent of the coverage of the policy. So everything, is that everything the policy covers or everything the policy doesn't cover that you're liable for?
I can't answer that right now. I'm stuck on so many other factors that are in play here. Not least of which is simply, how does the town escape future liability for any work it has performed in the past and or would perform in the future? I don't see a win in any of this.
Yeah.
For anybody.
I did reach out to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. I haven't heard back from them yet, but I did set it as low priority, so I'm gonna ask them again, with like a higher priority.
I think one of the biggest factor that I can see from my standpoint is like this flooding that we had. We took a policy, which I felt was correct, that we didn't fix anybody's private property outside the right of way, right? This was an act by the town that went outside their scope of the right of way. And it is by going outside the right of way without the authorization, they have in fact created or possibly created an issue on private property.
Hey, Tim, was this an issue when he did it back in, say, 2010? Did you come to the town and say,
I did.
what's this guy doing? And,
Well, I didn't come to the town, I went to Lyle himself,
okay,
and then he got very confrontational.
okay.
And
he did.
this was when he first put the ditch in alongside the road, and I thought, oh, it can't be done. And after a couple of weeks, when nothing more was done, I stopped in to see him and said, you know, Lyle, where are you going with the rest of that ditch? Because if water has to come down that ditch off that road, it's gonna go right over the end of my road and wash that out. And again, got very confrontatious. Next thing I know, it was a week or two went by, I went down to my property, and he had dug a ditch down past my gate from where that ditch ended to my culvert.
And you didn't confront him about that particular issue?
What's that?
I mean, you didn't, when it was resolved, but it wasn't resolved.
It wasn't resolved, because when I stopped in there, he started telling me I didn't know what I was talking about, and I shouldn't be telling him how to do a job, and it went on and on and on. It
Right,
got pretty heated to the point where I said, the bottom line is, Lyle, you were on my property, not within the town right away.
right. And I'm surprised that it wasn't corrected at that time.
Yeah,
You don't know Lyle Holton?
exactly.
You never dealt with Lyle Holton.
Okay,
Well,
okay,
hang on a
we're
second.
not going there.
Okay, I just.
Yeah, enough of this. We know what the issue is.
Right. My only inquiry was, is there a statute of limitations? Is 15 years, did the town do something bad 15 years ago and didn't get caught at the time and is now liable? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
It's an excellent question, I don't know.
Are we talking labor? Just labor only to fix what needs
Yeah,
to be?
Yeah.
the gate is, it's time and maybe some materials. The gate itself is fine, it's probably dropped 8, 10 inches and it's leaning inward on the left-hand side. The right side's fine.
Jim,
And then
what
it's
did
a
you
matter of
say?
bringing material in, taking that culvert out. Like Jimmy says, maybe you can hang it by a chain and shake the rocks out of it, put it back in place and put the road back the way it was, and maybe, I would suggest filling back in that ditch. I don't want water running in it.
Where does the water go if you fill in the ditch? I'm not understanding this part.
Well, before, there was like drainage tile there from years ago, before I had it, I guess. And the water used to just kind of leach down. It was never like a ditch, Tim, like it is now. Lyle dug a ditch there and put in like crusher run, not crusher run, riprap.
And then a culvert underneath your driveway.
No. He ended that ditch right at my driveway. When I confronted him about it after a couple of weeks, then I went down there a little while after that, and he had gone down and dug a ditch from that point on my property, around my gate to my culvert.
Okay. What is the,
So Jim, the culvert that can go in right away, grants and aid, got that taken care of.
Right.
What would you need to fix the gates and fill in the ditch to make Mr. Doyle? Right, but
I don't know if we.
what would it take?
to do that.
What are we talking
Like
about?
Penny said, a little bit of material to fix the road, shape culvert, replace the
Reset.
yes, exactly.
We're not talking big
No,
dollars here.
reset it and shim back up the gate. But I just think that the question for the town, from my standpoint, is the liability associated with us working outside the right of way. Now, if he gives us permission and signs off on it, which we do have forms for that, then we could go on his property.
Well, hang on. Yeah, obviously you can go onto the property with the landowner's permission, but now we've got basically a public government doing work on private property. And then secondly, even if we wanted to do that, Mr. Doyon would then have to absolutely positively sign a waiver and release from any future liability whatsoever, no matter what you think caused it, to hold the town harmless in the future in anything regarding this specific matter here.
And I'm fine with that, Tim, because it would just bring it back to the way it was before Lyle did any of it. And I didn't have any problem with that.
I personally still think it's really problematic, and I'll tell you what else, and I hope you're not gonna hate me for this, but I think you slept on your rights, and the statute of limitations for any legal recourse here has expired. I think it expired something like 8 years ago, 7 years ago.
did you have something, Mr. Fleming?
That's why I came here tonight. He started working on Hale Road right there a week or two ago, just above Tim's driveway. And I measured from the top of the ditch to where he's pushed dirt over on the next people's land. And you can't tell exactly where the center of the road is, but he's disturbed dirt for 63 feet. And he's got it all slanted down towards the brook. The ditch has got a culvert with stones just above his driveway, which is not completed yet. Well, he redug the ditch, took the dirt and put it on a steep bank. A lot of dirt and gravel, it's all loose. The brook is right there, it's just waiting for a downpour. It's all gonna run into the brook. The culvert, the ditch is a nice ditch. That's all it's gonna be because the road slants away from it. The road don't go towards the ditch. Got a great big ditch, don't mount to nothing, you just put snow in it. The road goes the other way. Now, if I'm the landowner on that other side, he's backed up the trees, he's pushed the loose dirt, it's gonna kill a lot of trees, it's buried up the roots, all the way up to John's schools. Now, I never seen a bigger mess in my life. Now, I think you have to open up your arms and your head to make a change. You know, I'm not asking you to lose your values, but what I see there, I'm gonna go to fishing game or somewhere. You need to protect that brook. There's no protection there at all. That's why the rivers are filling in. I never saw a worse job in my life. It's just waiting for a lot of gravel and dirt to go right back down that brook, right into the Passumpsic River. It all slants, he's got it so it all slants right towards that brook. And the brook is still running.
Okay.
Now, if you wanna go look at a mess, I'm glad to meet with any one of you. And if we determine the center of the road, he's probably on the other people's land 10 or 15 feet or more, all the way up there. Now, I looked in the book, it doesn't say building roads. His job is supposed to maintain what's there. This looks to me like he's building the roads wider. Now, I don't know who's trying to keep an eye on it, but that is one mess, and I'm gonna wait a week or two, and if the town don't do anything, I'm gonna go to the state, and it's probably gonna cost you a lot of money. But that brook needs to be protected, and there's no protection there now. It's just waiting for a rainstorm, and you're gonna lose half your road down it and everything else. And I'm just sick about it.
Okay.
Now, I'd like somebody to go with me and see. I'd be glad to meet anybody, anytime, and you can see for yourself what's gonna happen. I don't mean to chew anybody out or anything like that, but it needs to change the way that's being done in that area.
Okay, well, I think, welcome, take a look at it.
Take a look at it.
But could we finish up this issue with Mr. Doyon's driveway before we move on to that? Because we're just confusing things here. But I appreciate that, you know, bringing that up. But so what's the board's pleasure on, or do we need to research things further, or you wanna?
I believe personally further research is needed into the liability here, because there's a lot of case law that handles situations like this, but it dates back to like the Civil War. So you've got obviously different factors at play there. I think I'm gonna reach out to VLCT again, see if I can get them to give, they're limited in what they can give as far as opinions and advice. But they could at least point us to some, case law and other things that have happened in other cities and towns in recent years.
Okay.
Because this little blurb only goes back to 2016. There could very well be other similar issues going on since then in the last 10 years that I'm not aware about.
Okay.
Tim, do you think this might be something we loop the town attorney in on, or?
I don't think it's gonna hurt to have the town attorney involved, but I did a quick search here. It looks like it could be as short as a 3-year statute of limitations. And Mr. Doyon clearly had issues back in whenever this event by Lyle took place in 2010, was it, or 2011? So I guess the question is, what business is the town in here? Are we just trying to make people happy because we did something 15 years ago and now it's a problem? I think that raises a whole bunch of other concerns. And again, no offense to Mr. Doyon. but it looks like he slept on his rights. I don't know what else we should do about this. I actually think it's a non-issue.
Did you give me a time when you're gonna look at it?
Can we, stick to the current conversation?
Yeah. I will, just.
That's just my opinion. There's 5 of us here.
Yep. Any other opinions? It sounds like Tim, you're not, willing to do repair work outside the right of way.
Oh, I think it's a can of worms.
Will would like to research further. How about, anybody else have an opinion?
My only concern was that it was a 15-year-old issue, and if the town is liable, and the 15-year, and there isn't a statute of limitations, then I think we should fix it. I'm just wondering why we didn't do something 10 years ago or 12 years ago.
Because I couldn't talk to Lions without him hollering every time I showed up there.
Well, hang on, with all due respect, it's not a Lyle issue anymore, it's a town issue, and the town should have been addressed with your concern back then. Just the way you're doing it now.
You're right, that's the way I'm doing it now, correct. I thought I was doing it the correct way to begin with, going to the road foreman who actually did the work.
Well, I really appreciate that kind of an effort too, because you might have actually worked something out then that would have made sense, but you're saying Lyle wasn't in a mood and not of a mind, and that would have been the time for the next step.
Okay. So do you wanna
I say we,
address it now, or do you wanna research and?
I'll continue to research. I'll reach out to the LCT specifically about, the issue, but also the statute of limitation concerns. I say we table this issue until next regular meeting in September.
But if we have an answer before then, can we get it to Mr. Doyon?
Yes, I will, if I hear
I
back
don't want him to
sooner.
have to wait a month to
Yes.
hear what we're thinking.
Tim, I'll keep you in the loop as I hear back.
You got my number, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Matt?
Is that Brian's issue?
Yeah,
Would that be citizens' concern?
yeah, I just didn't know if Mr. Fleming wanted to know when we'd be there, he might be able to take care of it, so he wouldn't have to unless you wanna sit through the rest of it.
Well, I'm gonna go,
Let's just
if
give
I
it the
have to,
answer.
I'll go above your head to fishing game or whatever I have to do, natural resources. But
Yeah.
something needs to be done there sooner rather than later.
That, I need a chance to address this. I did not add material to that slope in order to loose materials to build the bank out. What I did was I pulled the road in and I cut that slope, because throughout the course of years and years and years of grading and kicking all the excess material over that bank and over that bank, there's a culvert there that's actually undermined underneath the road. The material's been pushed out so far. And so in going by this hydraulically connected segment stuff, I pulled that slope up and pulled it in. So I narrowed the road up is what I essentially did. And any grade over a certain percentage is getting riprap. So the work is not complete yet. But that is not, and when this goes to show how far out the road actually was pushed out. And you look down below, it's the same thing. It drops right straight off the road and goes right down over the hill, straight down. I was grading that section last year. This fella came driving up through and he pulled over to the side to talk on the phone. Next thing you know, I went to make a grader pass up through there and he was right in my way. And I'm like, he's gonna move, I would assume. He didn't move. I got out of the grader and I said, you got a problem? I said, I'd like to come up through here. He said, I'd like to go, but I can't, because he was stuck. Because he was out on that edge, and that edge actually was giving way and cracked, and his car got stuck there and he couldn't get out. That's how far that bank had been pushed out throughout time. And like I said, down below, it's the same thing. And we have that in numerous places around town, and the roads are real wide. The culverts are undermined. There's a culvert that Brian's talking about that's just above Timmy Doyon's. And the road was way out here, and then when you get to that culvert, you sucked right in, and then it went right back out again. Well, that's a no-no for traveled portion of the road. So that's all pulled in, so that all blends. It just needs to be finished.
Okay.
I didn't add any material to that stuff. I actually loaded out material, and I pulled the slopes up, and it narrowed that up some.
Okay,
Compared to what it was.
but I'm happy to take a look at it if you would like me to, or Will is, or both of us, but I'm happy to do it.
My other concern going down that road, are guardrails ever going to get installed?
We have to budget for it.
That is, it drops off significantly
Well,
on.
it did anyways. I mean, it's just one of those visual things that in pulling it back, it's a steep slope in spots down through there. I'm not gonna lie about it, but it was always there. It's just you didn't see it.
Guardrails used to be there at one time,
Oh,
and I'm concerned about the safety of that road.
yeah,
Is this above or below the pipe that was,
it's below.
Below, but it's all the way pretty much
Yeah,
down
there's
that
sections
whole
that
side
are
of the hill.
quite
with,
steep.
Should we have guardrails there?
It wouldn't
The
hurt,
southern side of the road.
it wouldn't hurt to, put guardrails up there.
That's the Brook side of the road,
The
isn't it?
one
Yeah.
side of the road, the
Yeah.
southern
Can
side.
Oh, that is pretty steep.
Can
Yeah,
we
it
maybe
is.
add that this budget season to do
My
it next
concern
I
is
year?
have to look and see, I don't think I have much in there for guardrails.
No, for next, if
For
we
next
We
year.
could have it
This
budgeted for
fall.
next year. Yes,
If we-
correct,
put a line item in there for guardrails.
correct, yeah.
okay,
Has anybody gone off the road in that area?
The town lost a truck there,
Yeah, I know.
brand new truck, 2 weeks
That was
old.
down below.
The town kept
That
moving the
was
road over,
well, that was
down it went.
below.
Yeah, that was down.
Okay.
And they put guardrails there.
Down by
Hang
the
on.
tires.
Yeah, down by Liz and I.
That was down by Knights, but yes, it's another section that's quite steep, and guardrails did get put up there after the truck got wrecked.
Okay.
But there are some points along that road where it is very steep.
Mhm.
And I think from a safety standpoint, there should be.
Yeah, it is a long way down.
Yes, it is. I mean, all the way down the Brook. So I agree, there should be some guardrails, in spots up through there. We should budget for some and getting them started.
I think the town.
Over the years, they took the grader and
Sir, you have
took
to
the
recognize.
guardrails out.
Yeah, down the Knights.
That's what I mean.
I'm just, makes me sick to see what I see there.
I'm just reiterating the fact of how steep that is. I don't know how many years ago it was, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. The town actually lost a truck over that way.
okay, all right,
Lazy put chains on.
okay. Yeah, as Sue said, you know, if there are areas where we need guardrail, then ought to report on that. I did, after, Marcel brought up, the lack of budget for it. I did talk with Heather Gagne, and she confirmed what Marcel had said. We may have to use what we have left in our line of credit, plus the garage, town garage, the $100,000 that was surplus from last year that we hope to put towards the garage. We may have to use that to end up paying the bills on Mad Brook Road Bridge until we get money back from FEMA. And we don't know if we're gonna get that money prior to that bridge being built or not.
I thought we had $1 million line of credit.
We do, but we've used $50,000 of it, something in
Is
that.
that high now? I didn't think it was that high.
It's over 800. I can't tell you exactly what it is. Yes, Mr.
You
Keach.
said you're gonna take $100,000 away from the garage to do Mad Brook?
May have to use that money, we've got the
Why,
pay,
whoa. That money was appropriated to the town garage, not for the Mad Brook Bridge.
correct?
So
It's
why are you doing this?
because we need to pay our bills, and we have a contract for that work. And so you gotta take money out of the budget, whether you say it comes from there or wherever, it's,
But you've already appropriated this money. You said you had appropriated this money towards the town garage.
Yep.
And now you're saying you're not gonna put the money towards town garage.
I think the point is also that we're hoping to get the money back from FEMA in not too distant future.
Hoping it's not gonna get you very far, dude. Because FEMA ain't got no money. FEMA's out of money. And don't sit there and tell me that they got money, because they ain't got no money.
I don't know if that's the discussion here right now.
no.
You started it, I didn't.
well, we need money to
That's not
pay
the
for the
point.
Mad Brook.
I wanna know why the money that was appropriated for the garage is not being used for the garage.
I think Ron just explained that we are robbing Paul to pay Peter
Well, you
because
better
that's our
rob
contract.
somebody else, you should
Sir,
rob
you're cutting me
somebody
off.
else.
Our obligation right now is to Mad Brook.
No, your obligation is for the town to fix that garage. That's your obligation. That's what they said they wanted done. The town wanted this garage built and maintained. It was the second thing on the list.
I think you and I are both in agreement that we want the garage to be repaired
I want more than that, believe me.
for this conversation.
I think you were first, Mr.
Dave
Morrison.
And since you mentioned FEMA, I was just wondering, there's been a lot in the paper, recently about Barnett's difficulties getting money out of FEMA for their many disasters from last year. What is our current experience being with FEMA? Is the money coming? Are we having Barnett's problem?
Heather is our treasurer and our FEMA grants expert in our town, and I don't know the answer to your question.
Ron, you don't.
It's, well, there are two projects that are complete as far as FEMA's requirements, our reporting requirements. Plus, and those were both, from general washing out of the roadway. And then we have two projects, the Mad Brook Road Bridge and the Daniels Farm Road Culvert, that are, that can't be completed with FEMA until the projects are done. One of them will be done hopefully by the end of September or in October, because we have till October 31st, I believe, to get it done. But the others, now I can't speak on what Barnett's issues, whether they've got all their paperwork done. From what I'm not going there.
Yeah. I just wondered what you knew and what you didn't know.
But ours is done, but we're waiting for payment. And we can't, but they won't give us money for Mad Brook Road Bridge until it's complete.
Understood. Thank you, Ron.
Kathy Hodgson.
So if my thought is, if we're gonna take $100,000, which I fully understand why we're gonna do it, and to explain to Mr. Keach's problem is, we have to pay our bills. So if we take the $100,000, we haven't come to a price on the garage. You're gonna have to take a loan out probably for the garage at some point. You'd add the extra $100,000 that you're gonna take out. You need to pay the bill that we have that's gonna be outstanding and submit for FEMA to pay. Yes, it was designated, a change order can be put in. The select board has that option to move the money, to vote to take it from the fire department, from the town garage, and put it there to pay our bills so we can submit the FEMA, that is how I can see this is how it's gonna work. And I'm guessing that's how Heather would explain it if she was here. And then when we get the bids for the garage, which, I mean, might not be this year, might be by the budget time for next year. We hope, so that we can go to the town and figure out what we're gonna do. And if we have to take a loan at that point, we're gonna have to do it. So we already have the $200,000 for leftover thereabouts in the line of credit. So we need to make sure we get that bridge done and paid for.
Yeah, and there is no, I was speculating, because it's possible the money will come through from FEMA
Exactly.
before the bill comes due on that bridge.
You mean the money from the previous two projects that we
Yes,
completed?
yes, Mr. O'Hara.
Just curious about what the construction timeline is on that. Is it been put out the bid? Is it ready to?
Yeah,
ready to go?
it's been put out to bid. Originally, it was gonna be started in August and completed in early September
This year?
this year. But it has been delayed some because of, if you can imagine, the precasters have been fairly busy building bridges and box culverts for a number of communities. Right now, and I tried to get an update before tonight's meeting so I could have the latest information, but I didn't hear back from the engineer. But the last I heard from them, which was about a month ago, they expect to get the precast sections in early September. So it's gonna be delayed a little bit. It still should be built this year.
So just out of curiosity, a complete closure? You
It's
won't have any,
complete closure. I don't remember if it's 2 or 3 weeks they're allowed.
Somewhere right. Okay.
Yep. So it's a complete closure so they can get in and get out.
And I hate saying this, but if it got to, say, December time or January time, is the project then gonna get bumped into construction season, or can they do this during the late fall, early winter?
Well, it's their precast section, so
It should go pretty smooth.
yeah, it's not great even, building roads at that time of year, but it's not like you're cast in place concrete where you gotta,
Forms and all that.
heating the concrete after it's placed.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Keach?
Yeah, have you guys got any FEMA money at all yet?
No.
When do you send them the bill?
February.
Yeah, but it's, the final paperwork wasn't done till later than that, but because the paperwork was done on one section, and I don't.
You're not going, I just wondered if you got paid any FEMA money yet.
No, but
But
I
they
don't
owe
think you're
us
gonna,
for
be-
two.
I think it's gonna be kind of rough on you guys, depending on this FEMA money.
it's gonna be rough definitely gonna be rough on us, rough on the town,
Yeah.
if we don't get that FEMA money.
Well, I know I worked Irene, and I know down south, I think they got 46 cents on the dollar, if that. That's what they paid. You know what I'm talking about, Ron?
Yep, yeah, and it's, in theory, we're supposed to get 75% of it. And then another 12.5% from the state, and the town is liable for the last 12.5%. But you're right, until you get it in hand, yeah, it's a promise, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're done with Mad Brook Road Bridge, I hope.
Thanks again.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, fellas, appreciate it.
Town garage renovations.
I can speak for them.
Yeah, if you would.
Well, so we had the electrician come out to the garage and he gave us a drawing and an estimate, which was 13,837, close to, so I just rounded 14 grand. And, I've sent all that information to Marcel now, and I'm waiting to talk to Marcel to write up the final RFP so that we can get that out. And then we can get some other estimates so we know what we should be potentially budgeting for this project. So that's where we are. And so I was hoping that I could talk to Marcel sooner, but they were pretty busy with tax stuff. And so I had to wait. He said, wait till mid-August to come talk to me, so.
Now, this 14,000 number is for
That's
what
for
exactly?
electric.
Okay, so the
That's just
electrical
an
work.
estimate.
Okay.
It's just a rough estimate, and we have a nice drawing about approximately what we need, and we worked with Jim on that. And so he has provided the little drawing, because that's all we kind of needed. And then I need to just iron out the details with Marcel, the actual formatting of the whole RFP, because what I was creating was this whole packet, because anybody bidding on it doesn't want to just see, whatever gets posted in the newspaper as a description. We're gonna want a lot of detail and of what the project really entails. And so, because otherwise they can't bid on it. So
Okay.
that's where we are. So I'm hoping that I can get with Marcel on Thursday and talk with him on that.
Okay.
Still just wondering, Ron, on that town garage project. Has anybody done a cost analysis between repairs and a new building?
Well, we're waiting for the cost on repairs. We've got an idea, a rough idea on a new building, which is on the order of 1.4 million or so, for a building of similar size.
I mean, my only concern is they rip that thing apart, and now they get into electrical that's not up to code, plumbing that's not up to code. They find more black mold somewhere else. Now the bathroom's not up to code, it's not handicap accessible, and it just, now you're putting lipstick on an old building.
Yeah, it's one of our concerns was the ADA, and I'm not certain on that. I tried to I've contacted two people from the Agency of Transportation. I realize this doesn't go through them, but I talked with Jim, and we, like Jim asked, well, what do they do with state garages, buildings, when they, if they're building new ones, they make them ADA compliant. But I talked with Logan Perrin, the district tech, and I talked with Ann Gamble, who used to be a district transportation administrator and chief engineer. They put me in touch with a gentleman by the name of Tim French, and he is maintenance, I don't have his title in front of me, but he's kind of in charge of those things, and they have done some renovations to existing garages. I'm thinking that hoping that we don't have to make it ADA compliant. And what someone from VLCT told me when I was talking with them about funding mechanisms was that the areas of the building that are being altered, or the paths to those areas that are being altered, have to be ADA compliant. Well, we're not altering Jim's office or the bathrooms. We're taking the roof off and doing some electrical work. We're replacing the roof, so I'm hoping we can not have to meet those ADA requirements. The only other way to get out of having to do them is, and I don't think we could do it under that, is the if 20% of the total project